Holly, and I'm a work in progress. You probably are too, and my body's a work in progress, and maybe yours is too. And sometimes I've judged myself for my body size, and if you're a normal person, you probably have as well. And you know what? In my healing journey over the last 10 years, recovering from debilitating chronic illness, I had no idea that I'd actually be dealing with body insecurities along the way of all things. And it had to do with weight and physical appearance, and that should have paled in comparison with, just being grateful to be alive. But yet it was still there in the midst of it. And the extremes were totally out of my control. I was watching my weight at the time go really, really scary low and then higher than I ever thought I'd be. And still now working to reach a more comfortable, healthy goal for myself. I was always somebody that had to work pretty hard to stay at that lower weight and to be in shape. But I did it honestly, and I could make it happen if I needed to. And I did. I used to work as an entertainer on ships and theme parks. I did a lot of entertainment for live shows around the country, and sometimes we had weight restrictions and weigh-ins, which kind of seems crazy now, right? And ironically, probably, I happen to come from a family that is really weight conscious, very, a lot of body dysmorphia and self-judgment and judgment of others regarding size and shape. And, and there I was, all of me on display. And I, kind of down deep, I was hoping, hey, because I'm here, I'm alive and I'm better, maybe I can get them to see through a different lens. But, really that was not why I was doing it. I just hope that might have been kind of a side effect for, something good to come out of it, right? But it was hard for me, it was hard for me to be seen, in front of my family just as I was. But watching my weight go up and down with my illness was kind of mind-bending for me. Really, honestly, I shouldn't have been worried about it. I was on a walker at the time. I would have traded anything to be just okay again, to be alive, Really, I just wanted to know that I was going to make it, and then somehow I'd be on the other side of that total muscle wasting from Lyme disease, with, terrible inflammation. I couldn't even eat anything except chicken and cucumbers for an entire year because that was the only thing I could eat that didn't make my body and my skin burn, like literally burn all over. But, the long and short of it is that after a couple years of very little food, teetering really kind of on the edge of my life, I finally started being able to eat again, because the inflammation started subsiding, which was great. But then I found myself having to eat so much just to be able to get through my day without slumping over like a rag doll. Literally, going from talking to my kids to slumped over, like hanging off of the couch, sometimes on the floor. The intense weakness was so profound, and the only thing that helped me stay alert were carbs and proteins on repeat all day. I don't know why, I still don't know, but I didn't want all that food, but I dreaded being slumped over. So what was my choice? What was I supposed to do, right? And I knew what was happening weight-wise, and it was kind of terrifying because I was watching my body go from super thin, the thinnest I'd ever been, but really the sickest I'd ever been, clearly, to, better. And after 3 or 4 years, unfortunately, though, then I was like the heaviest I'd ever been. So the irony here is that this entire healing and wellness journey that I've been on has been a journey of surrendering to love, all about self-love and connecting to the world of spirit for healing. And, in that world, there's no room for self-judgment. And it was kind of creeping in, right, because of my weight. And so I decided I was going to have to not worry about how I looked because I knew that surrendering to love in a high vibration, high frequency, law of attraction approach was the only thing that was going to heal my chronic condition that, doctors couldn't really help me with at that point. Lyme disease is kind of a mystery illness. It never really looks the same for any two people, and doctors don't really know much about it. And a lot of times they unfortunately don't. Well, I was going to say they don't seem to care. I'm sure they do, but I think they're pretty stumped by it, and they're very ill-informed on the topic. So I kind of had to become my own healer, and it all had to do with frequency and energy and love and light and alignment with the truth of my highest self. and, manifestation and law of attraction and all that stuff. There was no room for self-judgment in that. But how do you do that when you look in the mirror and go, oh, well, that's not what I want to look like, right? But kind of the final frontier, I would say, is still my weight, because even though I'm healed of this disease, and I'm so grateful all the time, I still lack some energy that I used to have. And that's what keeps me from being able to exercise and really do the things that I know how to do to get that weight off. Do I really like the weight I'm at? Not really, because I'd feel better with less weight on my body, but like just physically I'd feel better. But I can say now without hesitation though, that I love myself and I love what I've been able to come through. I love my body. I love that my body is so awesome and it's come so far. It's so resilient and I'm alive and my body's working so well now. And I love that I can say that I love myself and I love my body. It took years of emotional discomfort to come to that and really mean it, right? And now I don't, like I said, I don't want to hang on to this extra weight much longer, but for as long as it's there, I'm just going to keep loving that weight, loving myself for whatever weight I'm at. This journey has sucked, but it's been incredible at the same time, right? And in the meantime, why would I ever judge myself for my physical weight or size? But the point of this now is to say that self-acceptance is key here. Self-acceptance is everything. Self-love is everything. I had to learn to love my super tiny but really sick body, and then my much more round and curvy heavy body, and it feels really good to say that I can love myself no matter how I appear, and I'm going to keep loving myself no matter what. It's how you heal anything. Total love and acceptance. And I want you to love yourself as well. My 40-day program that's on my website, it has an exercise that says, you look in the mirror and you say, I love you and I like you, like 10 times a day. And I encourage you to try that also. And to just, absolutely fall in love with the fact that you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And man, oh man, we're all just a little imperfect, but we are perfect as we are in our imperfection. I think it's time to stop hiding our flaws, you guys, and to start accepting ourselves without judgment. Do I prefer to carry less weight? Well, yeah, but it's still okay no matter how I look, and I can love myself, and I do love myself. I love myself, and I want you to love yourself too. I want you to love yourself. I want you to love your body. No matter where you are on your journey in reaching your goals, I want you to stand in a place of radical self-acceptance exactly where you are right now, because really, if not now, when? When you see yourself as perfect, some ideal date when everything is perfect in your life. What about all the days in between, That person on the in-between days is just as important. That person matters as much as the ideal person, right? The person right here and right now. And listen, I see you for who you are, no matter how you look or what you've accomplished in your life or anything else. I just see you for the beautiful spirit that you are, and I hope you can too. And honestly, I wasn't sure I'd be able to make this video because I've never really been so transparent and vulnerable on video before. But I think this is everything for me. Honestly, it's time to live in love and joy no matter what. Healing our minds and healing our bodies, healing ourselves, healing our wounds, the wounds of our current life. Everybody has them. The wounds of our ancestry, the wounds of our lineage. Self-love at a time like this is everything. It's what heals. Love is what transforms. Radical self-acceptance, accepting, allowing, releasing what no longer serves our highest good. And listen, if you want to join up with me on your journey to self-love, you can work with me as your life coach, spiritual mentor, life cheerleader, and healing guide. All you have to do is visit my website listed here, hollyshealinghub.net, for my 40 Days to Wellness program, or individual sessions if you prefer. And if nothing else, go to the mirror today and tell yourself how much you are loved. And don't be afraid to say, I like you, I love you, and I accept you exactly as you are. And with that, have beautiful day, my friend.